You know that feeling, don't you? That little jolt of anxiety right before you check your bank account? You kind of hold your breath, open the app, and just hope for the best. Well, today we're talking about the exact moment that anxiety starts to fade away. We're going to dive deep into the psychology of a financial milestone that's way more important than becoming a millionaire, hitting that $20,000 mark. Just picture this for a second. Instead of that dread, you actually feel calm. Instead of worrying about whether you can afford a coffee, you feel like you're in control. Now, this isn't some fantasy for the super rich, it's a real psychological shift, and it all starts at a number that's surprisingly within reach. You know, most financial gurus love to sell this dream of $1 million. They act like that's the magic number for freedom. But what they don't tell you is that they're skipping over a much more important, much earlier milestone. The honest truth, the first $20,000 you save is what completely rewires your entire relationship with money. It is the real game changer. So in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly why this number is so incredibly powerful. We'll talk about the invisible barrier it helps you smash through, the psychological boulder you've got to push, the financial tipping point, the awesome power of momentum, how to build what I call the golden habit, and then, of course, how you can get started, like today. All right, first up, the invisible barrier. You see, building wealth isn't just a straight line up. It's much more like playing a video game where you have to clear different levels. And to get to that next level, you have to beat a specific challenge first. And here's the thing, that $20,000, that's the first major boss battle. Once you cross that line, the rules of the game fundamentally change for you. It's like a clear dividing line between a life of constant financial stress and a life where you're actually starting to grow. And the crazy part is, most people don't even realize this threshold exists. Which brings us right to the heart of the struggle. The psychological boulder. I want you to imagine you're trying to push a giant, heavy boulder up a steep hill. That first few feet feels absolutely impossible, right? You're straining, you're sweating, it feels like it'll never move. Well, saving your first $20,000 is exactly like that. It is, without a doubt, the hardest part of the entire journey. So why is it so tough? It's because when you've got little or no savings, your brain is literally stuck in what psychologists call survival mode. It doesn't care about your 5-year plan or some fancy investment strategy. Its only job is to get you through the next 24 hours, the next week, the next bill that's due. All of your mental energy is just eaten up by these immediate threats. And this is the critical shift. Survival mode is constantly asking, how do I make it to the next paycheck? It's why you stay in a job you hate or say yes to things you really don't want to do, all because you can't afford to take a risk. But the second you have that financial cushion, the question in your head changes. It becomes, okay, how can I grow this money? You go from this reactive, defensive crouch to a proactive, offensive stance. This leads us straight to the financial tipping point. See, crossing that $20,000 line isn't just about the numbers in your bank account. It's about what happens inside your head. It's that moment where the fear finally starts to quiet down. And you know what? There's some pretty powerful data to back this up. Research from Vanguard shows that having just $2,000 in savings boosts your sense of financial well-being by a huge 21%. Now, when you get that up to a 3 to 6 month emergency fund, which for most of us is right around that $20,000 mark, it jumps another 13%. That's a real measurable drop in your day-to-day stress. This right here is the key transformation. You stop playing defense where you're just trying not to lose money. You finally have the breathing room, that mental space to start playing offense, to actually think strategically about how to make your money start working for you. Okay, now we get to the really fun part, the power of momentum. Once you finally push that massive psychological boulder to the top of the hill, it starts rolling down the other side. And guess what? It starts picking up speed all by itself thanks to the most powerful force in all of finance, compound interest. Just look at how this acceleration works. Let's say you manage to save $1,000 a month. Getting to that first $20,000 takes about 19 months of just pure hard work. But the second $20,000, that only takes 17 months. Why? Because your first $20,000 is now working for you. Now let's fast forward. When you have $400,000, that next $20,000 takes just 5 months, and most of that is just from investment growth. The exact same goal gets easier and easier and easier to hit. And to make this feel even more real, let's say you invest that first $20,000 and get a pretty average 8% return a year. That's $1,600 a year, or about $133 a month. That just shows up in your account without you doing a single thing. It's literally money that your money made for you. And let's be super clear about this. This isn't some secret Wall Street trick that's only for the rich. It's available to literally everyone. You can buy the exact same low-cost index funds whether you have $1,000 or $100,000. The only thing that changes is the scale. And at the $20,000 scale, the math finally starts to feel real. But here's the part that I think most people miss, and honestly, it might be the most important piece of this whole puzzle. The money itself, it's secondary. The real prize is the person you have to become to get there. It's all about building the golden habit. Think about it. To save $20,000 from nothing requires some serious discipline. You have to track your spending, you have to say no to all those impulse buys, and you have to stay consistent month after month. In that process, you become the kind of person who can delay gratification when it really truly matters. And that isn't just a money skill, that's a life skill. This is the ultimate victory. You've basically hardwired a new identity for yourself. You've proven with cold, hard cash that you are in the driver's seat of your financial life. And that feeling of confidence, that's worth way more than any dollar amount. All right, so we've covered the why. Now let's get super practical with the how. Let's talk about what you can do to get started today. The path itself is simple, but that doesn't mean it's easy. Step 1, you have to know where your money is going. Track every single dollar. Step 2, automate it. Set up those transfers to your savings account for the day you get paid so you don't even have to think about it. Step 3, you've got to learn to say no to those shiny things that will derail your progress. And finally, the most important one, you have to be relentlessly consistent. And while you're on this path, you have to watch out for the mental traps that stop almost everybody. First is the impossibility trap, telling yourself you can't do it before you even try. Second, the perfect time trap. Listen, the best time to start was yesterday. The next best time is right now. Third, the all or nothing trap. If you mess up one month, don't quit. Just get back on track the next month. And finally, please avoid the comparison trap. This is your journey. Don't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. So let's just end with this thought. The real question isn't, can you save $20,000? It's who will you become in the process? Because that journey to your first critical milestone, it's not really about piling up money. It's about forging a new identity for yourself, one built on discipline, control, and this quiet, unshakable confidence. And that transformation, that is the greatest return on investment you will ever get. So, $20,000. It sounds like a pretty big number, right? But what if I told you it's so much more than that? Reaching this first major savings milestone, it's a genuine turning point. We're not just talking about the money in your bank account. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how you think, how you work, and the opportunities you can even see. Let's break down how hitting this one number can literally change everything. So, how does having a solid financial cushion actually change your perspective on the world? And look, this isn't some get-rich-quick scheme. It's about unlocking a totally new way of thinking and a set of choices that honestly were probably invisible to you before. We're going to dig into exactly what those changes are right now. Okay, first up, the most immediate and powerful transformation. You move from a mindset of defense, one that's totally ruled by anxiety, to a mindset of offense, where you're actually out there looking for opportunities. This is an absolute game changer. Just think about the daily mental grind. Before you hit this milestone, you're probably doing mental gymnastics over buying a $4 coffee. Every single tiny expense is a source of stress. But once you have that foundation, man, you just stop sweating the small stuff. That financial safety net frees up so much mental energy to focus on the bigger picture. An unexpected car repair is the perfect example, right? When you're flat broke, that's a total catastrophe. It can throw your whole month, maybe even your whole year, into complete chaos. But with a $20,000 cushion, look, it's still super annoying, nobody wants that bill, but it's just an inconvenience. It's a problem you can solve with money, not with panic. And this right here is where the magic really starts to happen. With that safety net in place, you start to see opportunities that were always there, but they felt completely out of reach. Suddenly, your friend's business idea isn't just a fun chat, it's a potential investment you could make. That fixer-upper down the street isn't some HGTV fantasy, it's a numbers game you can actually play. You have options, real options. And this gets to the absolute core of it. You've heard people say, it takes money to make money, right? Well, it's not some secret conspiracy or a club you're not invited to. It's this simple, powerful truth. Having capital gives you options. And those options are the raw material for building even more wealth. You're no longer just defending your goal. You're on offense, looking to score. Okay, so this brings us to the second huge shift.
Your brain literally starts to rewire itself. You stop focusing on the small stuff and start focusing on what truly moves the needle in your financial life, the big, life-altering decisions.
I mean, seriously, think about how much brain power gets wasted on these tiny decisions. Should I buy the name brand cereal? Is it worth it to drive across town for cheaper gas? With a financial foundation, you realize this is all just noise. Your energy shifts from agonizing over pennies to strategically analyzing the big ticket items that have a real long-term impact on your life. And let's just put that coffee thing in perspective for a second. Let's say you have a really expensive daily coffee habit. We're talking maybe $1,000 a year. Now, that's not nothing, for sure. But in the grand scheme of your entire financial future, that decision is not what's going to make or break you. Not even close. Now these are the heavy hitters. The car you choose to drive, the home or apartment you choose, how much you consistently invest. These are the choices that can swing your net worth by tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars over your lifetime. This is where your focus belongs. It's about being strategic, not just being cheap. All right, section 3. And honestly, this might be the most powerful, life-changing part of all. Let's talk about how financial security completely revolutionizes your career by flipping the power dynamic between you and your employer.
Let's be real. When you absolutely need that next paycheck just to survive, you're in a position of weakness. You can't risk rocking the boat. You might stay in a toxic work environment or accept way less pay than you deserve simply because the alternative, having zero income, is just too scary to even think about. You are, for all practical purposes, trapped.
And this is where that amazing concept of walking away money comes into play. That $20,000 in the bank, that's your secret superpower. It is the ability to say no. It's the freedom to quit a job that is crushing your soul, knowing that you'll be perfectly fine for months while you find something better. It completely flips the script from desperation to a position of strength. And what's so wild is the chain reaction this sets off. It's a positive feedback loop. Just knowing you have that money changes how you carry yourself. You become more confident. You start asking for the raise you know you deserve. You volunteer for bigger challenges. People notice this new energy, which leads to promotions, better pay, and, you guessed it, an even bigger financial cushion. It builds on itself. But, and this is a huge but, this is the exact moment where so many people, after all that hard work, make a massive mistake. This next section is all about avoiding that trap by understanding the true cost of your choices. Let me be crystal clear on this one. That first 20 grand is not a prize to be spent. It's not for a fancy vacation or a down payment on a flashy car. It is the concrete foundation for the entire skyscraper of your financial future. It's the seed that you have to protect, and more importantly, you have to let it grow. Whatever you do, don't dig up the seed. This quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Our culture tells us that status symbols like brand new cars are signs of wealth. But financially, a monthly payment on something that loses value every single day is a wealth-destroying machine. It's a constant drain on the most powerful wealth-building tool you have, your income. And here's the number that should really blow your mind. The true opportunity cost. That $30,000 you spend on a new car isn't just $30,000 that's gone. It's the $200,000 or even more that it could have become if you had just invested it in a simple, low-cost index fund and let it grow for 20 years. That is the real price of that new car smell. So you end up with this beautiful, kind of ironic picture. The person driving the flashy new car is often stressed about the payment, and their wealth is literally evaporating every single month. Meanwhile, the person driving a reliable, slightly older car, they're not making a sacrifice. They're making a strategic choice. They're quietly building real wealth and probably sleeping a whole lot better at night. And look, this isn't just about cars. Of course not. Once you get the power of opportunity cost, you start to see it everywhere. It becomes a filter for every big decision you make. Is that bigger apartment really worth delaying your financial freedom by 5 years? Is that expensive hobby truly aligned with what you want long-term? Now, I know what you might be thinking. So, does this mean I have to become some kind of penny pincher who never has any fun? And the answer is absolutely not. This isn't about depriving yourself. It's about being intentional. It's about consciously deciding what you truly value instead of just letting your money slip away on things that don't really move you closer to your goals. At the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Reaching this financial milestone is about so much more than money. It marks the transition from being a passenger in your own life, constantly just reacting to whatever happens, to becoming the architect, actively and intentionally designing the future you want. And that leaves us with one final and really important question. Once you've laid this foundation for yourself, the real work, and honestly, the real fun begins. So, what are you going to choose to build? Your future self is counting on you. Hey, if this explainer helped you see your financial future a little differently, do me a favor and help someone else by sharing it with them. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns that can help you build your best life. Thanks for watching.